Shalom. This is Brother Mayum coming at you from GMS Tampa Bay. First and foremost, I want to give all the praise and all the glory unto Yahweh, Bahashim, Yahweh Shai, Bahashim, L'Chahakwadash. Double honors to the elders and apostles of Great Millstone. Much blessing and salutation to the Akim around the four corners of the earth for diligently pushing out His truth and sincerity. And just want to do a quick video, because brothers are just speaking about this oil, and the gas prices, going up. And I believe brothers are saying they're starting to see $3.99. I really, I take a look at the gas price every now and then, but for the most part throughout the week I have a company vehicle, so I don't have to really worry about fuel. But I think I looked at it on the way home from work yesterday, going past a Flying J. It's a truck stop, and I think it was at like $3.93, but that was kind of in like the country, some little country area, I guess you can say. But oil prices are going back up, man. All right, and lo and behold, this is yet another way that Esau Edom is fucking you Americans, man. All right, the rulers of your own nation are causing you to suffer. All right, that cruel Lord that's spoken of in Isaiah chapter 19. Well, guess what? That's what you got. You got yourself a cruel Lord. Okay? And real quick, I just want to read this a little bit of this article here. It's entitled International Energy Agency Issues Oil Demand Warning. The Strait of Hormuz disruption, because again, Esau's back at it with the bombing, man. They've been at it for a couple of days now, but things just continue to look like they're escalating. And it's going to get to a point here real soon and it's going to happen real quick, where a lot of you Americans, you're going to wake up one morning and gas is going to be like $7-8. Okay? And this thing ain't no joke. Right now, brothers, said out here in the Tampa area, further to the actual Tampa city of Tampa, it's around $4, which, brothers have gone into it before of how, like, Esau likes to play these games with the $3.99, and they keeping it 1 cent below, and everyone got it at that same price. Like, something ain't right. Okay, but it says the Strait of Hormuz disruption is set to trigger the first annual decline in crude consumption since COVID 2019. The energy watchdog says global oil demand is on track to post its first annual decline since the COVID-19 pandemic, as the U.S.-Iran war has severely disrupted Middle Eastern oil production and exports, the International Energy Agency has said, the IEA. The Middle East conflict, triggered by the U.S.-Israeli bombing campaign on Iran in late February, has slashed Gulf oil production and exports, prompting the largest ever emergency stock release by the IEA member countries. All right. While exports have gradually resumed, production and inventories remain below pre-war levels. The lingering effects on the war, including disruptions in the Strait of Hormuz, have cut fuel demand by driving up prices, straining supplies, and weighing on economic activity. So things are starting to be felt, all right, by people. All right, this isn't something that is, mostly affected other nations around the earth. Now you Americans are starting to get this, this attack, or this decline, the effects of it, Salakia. The effects of all these things happening around the earth. Now you're starting to feel it. All right, and it's gone up. Gas price has gone up a little bit here and there, but for the most part, Salakia. All right, but for the most part, all right, the gas prices, were kind of been a little steady for a little bit there. They did when initially Iran and the America war started. You kind of had a little bit of a hiccup on the price for a little bit, and then it kind of just settled back to where it was supposed to be, or where it was before, for a little bit, and then it just now is looking like it's starting to go back up, man. And these devils, they're not playing around. Revelations 12:12 tells you that these devils know that they had a short time, so they come in with great wrath. Okay? Great wrath is what this devil is bringing for you, man. He's not going to come to make things easy on you. That restriction is going to continue to happen. This devil, as that serpent, is going to keep tightening up on you, keep tightening up on you, keep tightening up until one day you're going to wake up and realize that you can't breathe. Okay? And that's what we see. We see how that stranglehold is being put on you Israelites, man. How your life is just being little by little being taken from you, man. Like your life. When a snake is coiled around you, that you start to, every time you take a breath, every time you exhale, that snake squeezes in. And then you try to take another gasp of air, and you breathe out, and it tightens up again. And then it keeps tightening up. Every time you take a breath, and keep tightening. No matter how many times you try to hold your breath and not let go, not exhale, that snake, it feels your muscles tensing and releasing. So now it just keeps tightening and tightening and tightening until you eventually just die, man. Well, that's how the things of this society has been taken from you, man. Little by little, changes here and there, your privacy, your right to own things, all of that has been taken from you, man. To where you're really just hanging on by a thread in society at the hopes that the flip isn't switched on you. Because that's what happens. All right, these devils will flip a switch, and your entire life is thrown into shambles, man. Okay, that's how these devils work. They push you to the very edge of patience, and in suffering, and then they add more to it, man. All right, that's why the scriptures constantly harps on patience, man, patience. Because for the elect, the ones that are going to be delivered and make it through all these things that are taking place on this earth, they're going to have patience to endure and get through these things. Okay? Because there ain't going to be no other way. No other way that you're going to be able to get by any of this that's happening. Okay? You're just going to be stuck. You're going to suffer. Because when you lose patience, you're not thinking right. It's just coming at you too quick for you to, fully get yourself out of a situation. You can't think on the fly, all right, because you've lost patience. But when you hold on to patience, you comprehend situations, all right. You understand the situation. You calculate and you analyze what's going on, and you act in a particular way. You function in a particular manner. Okay? But the majority of people here in society, man, they're about to lose their fucking minds, man. When this thing fully ramps up, and these devils put those final stages of that squeeze on them, that's when people are going to have had enough, man. And this is 2nd Ezra 15. I'll start at 14. I know we always read this, but hey, man, we're nigh at the door at this for these prophecies to come to pass. All right, 2nd Ezra 15 and 14. Woe to the world and them that dwell therein. And for those of you that aren't familiar with the etymology of words, let's go into this word. Remember, etymology means the study of words, study of the origin of words. Along the lines of, it's not verbatim the definition, all right? But it reads, woe, the etymology from late 12th century, late 12th century, from the interjection Old English wa, that says a common exclamation of lament in many languages. And yeah, that's pretty much what it gives. But see, that's what it is, a exclamation of lament. Okay, and what's lament? Lament is like the feeling of from suffering, pretty much, right? Lament, to lament, expression of sorrow or grief. You see? So that's what woe means. Sorrows and distress. Okay, as the scriptures tell you, is going to be the signs of the day of the Lord. Okay, was that Luke? Luke, I believe, like 12 and. Oops, okay. So let me type it in real quick. I forget exactly where it's at. Luke 21, Salakia, and 25 says, "And there shall be signs in the sun and in the moon and in the stars, and upon the earth distress of nations with perplexity," meaning confusion, "the sea and the waves roaring." And this is what we're seeing, the distress of nations. People are in complete distress. People are suffering, man. People are catching hell. Gas prices going up. You know what that does to an economy, to society? Gas prices goes up, that means the price of produce and other products goes up. Because guess what? It takes gas, or it takes diesel, right? Oil. Diesel comes from oil. Gasoline comes from oil. Okay? The products have to get some type of fuel is used to deliver that package to that store. And not only that, but the majority of products made nowadays is made from some form of a petroleum-based product, whether it be plastic or some other form of a petroleum-based components. Okay, rubber, certain rubber parts are, all that comes from petroleum, man. You see, but a lot of industries in this society carry, some form of petroleum in their system, man, or in their products. All right, that's just how things are in this world and nowadays. Okay, Esau utilizes that oil. That's why he fights over it, because the person who can control the petroleum can control the world. That's why he set up his dollar as the currency to be able to purchase oil. Okay, the petrodollar. But now nations have circumvented that, and it's causing this strain that we see today. Because ultimately Esau's creating all this chaos, as their own slogans go. They create order out of chaos. So they're the ones creating this distress that we see upon the nations today. All right, the distressed and sorrowful looks that people have on the daily. All that comes because of the rulers of this earth, man. Trying to achieve their plans, their thoughts, their intentions, is continuing to bring peril in the earth, as the scriptures say. That's why you see people starting to lose their head, man. All right, 2 Ezra 15 and 15. "For the sword and their destruction draweth nigh, and one people shall stand up to fight against another, and swords in their hands." And you see, this is what's awaiting you. This is the setup that these devils are building before your very eyes. You're just too stupid to see it for what it is. These people are setting a trap for you in this world. All these different changes and chaos that you see happening is all setting up. It's all nothing but a part of a setup, man. A setup that's going to eventually bring about this devil enslaving the entire earth. Now, we understand that he's only going to get a small taste of that, because the Lord's going to disappoint him and come quickly. But this is what's going to happen, and there's going to be much anguish taking place as this gets set up in your face. Because you are going to have people who rebel. You're going to have people that are going to protest and take to the streets. And these protests and uproars of the people are going to turn violent real soon.
Because you see all these half-cooked protests and riots that so-called have been happening in America, but guess what? Soon you're going to actually mean it. People are going to actually take to the streets because they see that their lives are in jeopardy. Okay? As we just read, it says, "For the sword and the destruction draweth nigh, and one people shall stand up to fight against another, and swords in their hands. For there shall be sedition," meaning an uprising, "among men, and invading one another, they shall not regard their kings nor princes, and the course of their actions shall stand in their power." So people are not going to give a damn no more what the chief of police got to say, what the sheriff of the town's got to say. They're not going to care what the policemen. They're not going to care what they say. They're going to sure as hell not going to give a damn about the mayor or the the governor or the senator. House of Representatives. They're not going to give a damn about any of them, especially not Donald Trump or whatever president's in office when shit hits the fan. J.D. Vance, or whoever. It don't matter. Nobody's going to give a damn. You're going to see news reports live from the White House being broadcasted, calling for things to calm down, but it ain't going to be no calming things down, man. It's going to be too late. And what we see happening right now is all being set up for that to happen, because that's how they're going to come with even more control. Okay, they can remember the phrase goes order out of chaos, but the order is the part that's important, because whose order is it? Is Esau Edom. All right, the elites, the orders of the elites. They're going to want society to be run in a particular way. So this is the order of how they want things to go. Okay, so that's the order that's going to be set up out of this chaos, man. That's what a lot of people don't understand. You think it's just going to be a free for all, and society's just going to have to be redeveloped by people putting their ideas together. No, that ain't going to happen. These devils are going to try to institute a complete takeover of the entire planet under one system, man. Okay? And those that partake in this system are going to be branded by what is known as in the scriptures MOTB, the mark of the beast. That's how you're going to be able to function in this society that's being set up before you, man. Okay? So it goes on to say, "For there shall be sedition among men, and invading one another, they shall not regard their kings nor princes, and the course of their actions shall stand in their power." Right. People are going to take matters into their own hands. They're not going to give a damn about the kings nor the princes. All right, the figures of authority. All right. It says, "A man shall desire to go into a city and shall not be able, for because of their pride the city shall be troubled, and the houses shall be destroyed, and men shall be afraid." You see, things are going to get that bad. Cities are going to go into lockdowns. Curfews are going to be set. All right. There's going to be restrictions put into traveling to save the oil, because remember, we're at war. Okay, so we got to be able to have enough oil to supply our military. So rations are going to be a thing. Remember, they did that back in the 80s. Okay, even out here in Florida, I know that the last couple of hurricanes, when they came, the real bad ones, they had rations on gas, man, where you can only get so much. You were cut off after a certain limit. Okay? And they're going to do the same thing, except this time it's going to become a permanent thing. Okay? And then it's going to change real quick from you being able to just get it if you're a citizen, or however way they're going to try to initially prove that you're a citizen or whatever to receive of those benefits. But then they're going to change into the only way you're able to access your rations is through receiving this chip. Okay, and this device that's going to be inserted into you is going to be able to allow us to put you into the system so that you no longer have to come with a ration slip. You can just wave your hand, and now all your information is tied to this chip, so you can get your rations, and we can keep track of your rations in that way a lot easier. And again, like I said, that's going to come real quick, if it doesn't already come as the initial form of identification for these rations. You see? So again, all this chaos that they have going on in the earth is all being created all right, to serve this purpose of establishing this new world order, man. Because the more chaos that happens, the more of a strain it puts on the people of the earth, and the more they seek for an answer. They seek for a deliverance from these situations, to where the day comes when they're going to try to bring about their form of salvation, and a lot of people are going to fall for it, and their life is ultimately going to be taken because of that. Okay? Because the one that we're supposed to trust in is the word of the Lord, not in the word of this devil. Okay? And that's what I did a video on that earlier this week, speaking on the not trusting these devils, man. They've hated Esau, or Esau has hated Jacob since they gave up that birthright, man. All right, and it hasn't changed. So just understand that in these times that are getting ready to come out here, like in that movie Hunger Games, and the second one, Catching Fire, when the chick was getting ready to go into that arena, the dude, the old winner, all right, I forget his name, Woody Allen, all right, the character he plays, he tells the chick, Jennifer Lawrence, he says, remember who the real enemy is, and when you come to find out, he was really talking about, who created the game. Because, they were all really in cahoots. Everyone was working together. Well, majority of those players were working together to bust out of there. So that's why he had told her that, so that she could keep that in mind, because she wasn't in on the know. She wasn't in on the plan. So, in these times that we coming into, man, just know who the enemy is, man. All right? And the true nature of these devils. Always keep that in mind in these times, man. The only person that we trust is the Heavenly Father, and the ones that have the Spirit of the Heavenly Father in them. Those are the only people that we trust, especially in the time of calamity. Okay? So, hey, with that, Lord's will, this is edifying. I want to give all the praise and glory unto Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Ruchah HaKodash. Double honors to the elders, apostles of Great Millstone, and much blessing and citations to the Akim around the four corners of the earth, who are diligently pushing out this truth and its truth and sincerity. With that, I say shalom.